Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are doing well today. So in this video I'm actually going to be discussing the black aspect of La Santa Muerte. And I guess the reason I hadn't made a video about the main three, the red, white, and black up until now, is because I was trying to gather a little bit more information about those aspects. I had a lot of interactions with those colors, but I hadn't really sat down to gain gnosis or channeled information about those aspects. So I finally decided to go ahead and do that. So the first I'm going to cover is the black aspect. So I have my book here with my notes about the black. So I'm going to read it off. I'm going to read off my channeled information about the black aspect, and then I'm going to discuss my personal interactions and experiences with the black aspect of La Santa Muerte. So that being said, let me go ahead and read to you my personal gnosis. The black is the damsel of death, destruction, and silence. She typically only speaks when necessary. She is the one whom is closest to death. She is cloaked in the black mantle of the dying energy and holds sway over the undead cities and realms. Her energetic signature is dense, and her scythe is heavy. She moves in the shadows. She seeks out justice. She is fear-inducing and quite serious in her endeavors. The black watches as bodies are laid to rest. She keeps score of the hurts caused to her devotees by those with hearts clouded by wickedness. She is the one with the sharpest scythe. She is the one with the quietest voice. She is the ultimate protectress, and she will enact her judgment in her own way, in her own time. She is the one whom the dead know so well. She is the one whom the living should fear if they should attack a devotee. That's the picture I drew. So that's basically my channeled information for the black aspect of La Santa Muerte. So the black is, to me, from my own personal interactions with her, she's very serious. She almost comes off kind of angry, very stern. She is an aspect that I have the least amount of interactions with, at least direct interactions with. I have had many interactions with the white and the red, but the black has only appeared very rarely in dreams, and only to give warnings, and very stern warnings at that, and almost threatening in a way, but everything she ever said was for my highest good and for my own protection, so I absolutely heeded every word that she said. The black is a very dark energy. She is not evil, but her energy is so dark and it's so Saturnian that the energy itself, if you were to experience it, it feels very fear-inducing. I experienced this the first time it was a dream I had about her, and in the dream I was face to face with her. She didn't speak, she simply stared right into my eyes. Her face was like right in my face, and I couldn't look away. I was transfixed, and she was wearing a black cloak, and on the inside you couldn't even see a face. It was just darkness. And then in the dream I was right in front of her, and I could see into the cloak, and it was just like a woman standing in a kind of like a black realm, like in a realm of shadow, and she was very beautiful, although I couldn't tell you what ethnicity she was. Her skin was very pale, but not pale in necessarily a Caucasian kind of way. It was more like almost like porcelain, like when all the blood is drained from a body and it's just like an unnatural color. It was kind of like that. And I remember just staring right in her face, right into her eyes. And I remember feeling I felt absolute terror. And it went on for a while, and it probably was only a few moments, but it felt like eternity that I stared into her face. And I couldn't breathe. I started hyperventilating, and I was just completely overcome with like utter fear, utter terror. And I woke up, I woke up just overcome with fright. I remember sitting up in bed like absolutely terrified, and I couldn't even breathe. Like I was like choking, like I had to like gasp for air. I was so afraid. And it took me a long time. I think I had this dream like at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I pretty much didn't sleep the rest of the night. I just stayed up. I turned on the light in the room and I lay down across the bed and watched like TikTok or something to distract my mind, to kind of help the fear energy kind of dissipate, because it was just so intense. And later on, you know, I was informed, because I did ask about it of course, that yes, in fact, that was the black aspect. And basically she was just allowing me to feel her energy like full force, because I was meant to become a lot closer with her later on, and I was going to have my time with her later. And so she kind of was just, I guess, baby steps to get me fully accustomed to being in that kind of very Saturnian, dark, very heavy energy. And the energy was so heavy and so dark that for me it was very fear-inducing. And she didn't do anything threatening. All she did was just stare at me and just let me feel her energy. And I imagine I will probably get accustomed to it, but it'll probably take me a little while, especially if I'm feeling her energy unfiltered and just like full force, because it's very strong. And I feel with most people that she interacts with, she probably reins it in a lot. She probably holds back a lot because, you know, Santa Muerte, no matter which aspect, she's very powerful being. And so I feel like most people can't handle the energy full force. I couldn't, you know, it was just very intense. But she's very protective. I know for a fact that there have been certain instances in my life where a lot of awful things were done to me in my childhood and when I was a teenager and even as a young adult. And she was there. She witnessed all of it. She witnessed all of the atrocities done against me as a child, you could say. And she really does keep score of everything that's done to people that work with her, that are devotees of her. And I think that often we associate her most heavily with the Grim Reaper, because in this robe she's wearing black, like the typical Western images of the Grim Reaper. I think that I've had only a few dreams with her. Again, she usually appears more as in a warning capacity. I've had a few interactions where she was not there for a warning, she was just there to be there. Like there were dreams where the white and the red were there with me, and they were talking to me about working out problems or seeking out forgiveness or kind of reaching closure with certain people who I had had issues with, I guess you could say. And this was all in order to build up more joy and to eliminate emotional baggage, I guess. And in those dreams, the black was present, and she made it was very obvious that it was her, but interestingly, she didn't really interact with me. She just kind of hung back, close enough that I could easily see her. Like I was sitting at a table with the black and with the red and the white, and they were dressed. They actually all had the appearance of young women in this dream. This time that they came to me, they were all like very fashionable young women, and they were each wearing a dress that, you know, was symbolic of that robe. One was wearing a red dress, one was wearing a white dress. The black robed, the one in the black dress, she wasn't even sitting at the table with us. She was sitting like kind of in the back of the room, but it was definitely her. And that's not the only time she's kind of been present, but just kind of hung back. There have been a few instances where all three aspects would come to me together, to like deliver important information, or to offer, or rather to give certain information or blessings or things like that, of that nature. And in that capacity, the black would be present, not in a threatening way, not in a warning way, but just in her full spiritual capacity along with the other two. So I haven't made a video about the red, the white, or the black up until this point because again, I wanted to gather more information about them. They're the most known aspects, and I think I was waiting to kind of gain more gnosis, and I'm glad I gained some gnosis, but also I feel like I knew I was going to make these videos about these three aspects sooner or later, and I don't know why I was at work today and I just kind of felt inspired to go ahead and just make videos about all three of these. I'm filming this one, the black one, first. I don't know if I will film the other two today. I probably will try to though. The black is the black is one I've had the least direct interactions with. She comes around the least. She's very intense. Again, very dense, dark energy. Very protective, very stern, very serious. Kind of like I think of her kind of like a stern parent, if that makes sense. And she's just a very interesting figure. I think because she is more intense and she's more dark, I guess you could say, or at least more obviously dark than say the red or the white. People are often, I feel, kind of dissuaded from working with her first. Like people try to tell you, oh, if you're drawn to the black, don't start working with her first. She's too intense, she's too this, she's too that. I think if you're drawn to the black aspect, you should absolutely work with that one first. I think we all have different vibrations and we all have different energy levels, and our souls and our energetic bodies call out to different frequencies. And some of us resonate more readily with certain colors on the color spectrum in regards to Santa Muerte. And I think that some people are definitely more naturally inclined to be drawn to the black aspect. And I think that if you are drawn to the black aspect, don't let anyone tell you can't work with her. Obviously, you know, you want to go about everything in the traditional proper way. You want to set out your altar, you want to have all the important fixings on the altar. Everything on the altar is there for a specific reason. So obviously just create your altar the way you would for any other aspect. Obviously come to her the way you would, but don't allow anyone to tell you which aspect you can and can't work with, especially if you feel very, very drawn to one aspect in particular that others are not so usually drawn to. And I would say the black is an aspect that a lot of people are drawn to, but at the same time, she isn't as kind of lighthearted or peaceful or, you know, on that end of the spectrum like the white or the red. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to say about the black? Any other specific memories? Oh, well, I know the black is the main one that enacts justice on those who wrong devotees, that's for sure. Not just devotees, I've known of her to witness horrible things done to innocent people that weren't even devotees, and the black acted and sought justice. And when I saw that, it really illustrated to me that she isn't just a form of justice or a form of protection like a bodyguard to devotees. It's more, she is just like an embodiment of justice across the world, regardless of, you know, anything. And I know there's a lot more to that, and I know justice in regards to Santa Muerte is a much deeper and a very nuanced topic, and maybe one day I'll know enough about it or channel about it or something to have more information to really have its own video in regards to what justice means with La Santa Muerte. But for now, I will just say that the black is definitely, I feel it's often a bit shrouded in mystery, and I feel like some people view her as scarier than they need to. She is very intense, she is dark, but she is not evil. She is just another side to La Santa Muerte. She is just another side, just like the white is another side. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. But if you found this information helpful, then by all means drop a like. If you want more information about La Santa Muerte, I have a pretty big Santa Muerte playlist of videos on my channel. I plan on uploading a lot more videos about La Santa Muerte. I think I have over, I think it's over 25 aspects that I actually haven't touched on at all on my channel. So if you want to learn about those or any other spiritual information going forward, then by all means absolutely subscribe, because I have a lot more to share. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one. Take care.